Hey everybody, welcome to Malt Muser Whiskey Reviews. I am Eric. On the bar today for review, Glenmorangie Spios Single Malt Scotch Whiskey. As always here on the channel, I'll give you a nose taste finish review of this single malt whiskey, tell you a bit about the value, give you my final thoughts and a final score, leave you with the malt musing. But first, if you've yet to, do hit subscribe. This is Whiskey Review 99, so my 100th review coming right around the corner. You won't want to miss that. Hit subscribe, and you'll make sure you get the notification when that comes live. So, Glenmorangie, located in the Northern Highland region of Scotland, is actually known for it having the highest stills in all of Scotland. And basically what that means is that the alcohol and the other kind of fusel oils that are within the whiskey during distillation are separating a lot more, so you get a quote-unquote more smooth whiskey. So its style tends to be a little bit more on the kind of delicate, elegant style of single malt whiskey. However, the Spios is anything but. This is from their private edition series, which comes out every single year. This is private edition number 9, which means this came out in 2018. And this is actually a fully aged American X rye cask. So you do not often find Scotch whiskeys that are aged in rye, let alone fully aged in rye. So this is quite a special whiskey. Here's what it has to say. Glenmorangie Spios is a single malt Scotch whiskey fully matured in American X rye casks. Suffused with a savory, elegant, subtle spice. This is at 46% alcohol by volume, non-chill filtered. It does not say anything about natural color, so there may be some color added to this, and no age statement. Here's a quick look at the box. It's kind of nice. It's got this kind of embroidered design on it. A little bit more information. Spios is actually Scots Gaelic for spice. Uniquely full-bodied, a bit more about kind of the whiskey itself. A whole bunch of stuff here written on the back talking about how it was created. Conceived this creation, he foresaw that its success would depend entirely on the unique smoothness for which Glenmorangie Spirit is renowned. Only the distillery's delicate floral style would invite the whiskey's nuance to shine through in this unprecedented malt. And so, before long, he recalled the virtues of American rye whiskey, set out sourcing the very best first fill oak casks from the spirit's heartland of Kentucky. Then, at Glenmorangie's distillery, these hand-selected casks began to impart their intriguing flavors to Glenmorangie Spirit, which emerged pure and smooth from Scotland's tallest stills. Also, a bit more info, just kind of about the whiskey itself, some tasting notes, which we will avoid. So there you go. Typical Glenmorangie box. Has the typical Glenmorangie symbol on it, etc. So that's the rundown on Glenmorangie Spios. Let's get this in the glass. And to note this rye whiskey style, I am using my Willet tasting glass right here from the Willet Distillery. Great rye whiskeys to come out of Kentucky. Here's the color. As I mentioned, we are unsure whether this is natural or not. We're going to assume it's not because it does not say so on the bottle. But kind of a nice, light, straw-like gold color. Okay, y'all. Let's get into this whiskey. So, spicy, for sure. Spicy, sweet. First thing that comes out to me is honestly rye bread. It smells like you walked into a bakery with fresh rye bread sitting out. It's kind of doughy, bready note. There's also some citrus, orange, lime. Nah, not lime, lemon. A lot of herbal notes too. It's a little bit of dill, which is characteristic of rye, but not overpowering. Yeah, and a little bit in the background, some bright fruit notes. I want to say it's almost like strawberry, going with that, complementing that orange lemon that I was getting. All in all, pretty nice nose, subtly assertive. All right, let's give it a taste. Let's launch it. Nice, crisp, kind of light initially on the mouthfeel. Pepper spice. Pepper spice hits you right away on the palate, and as it develops, gets stronger and stronger. It is herbal, it is grassy, it is peppery. There is also a nice kind of undercurrent of vanilla dry toffee. That kind of carries all the way through into the finish, which is long. Honey notes are coming through now, a bit more of that citrus orange, citrus lemon, just around the edge. Chocolate mint. Finish really hanging on nice here. And a bit of that kind of peppery rye spice. Just working really harmoniously with that sweet honey as it goes into the finish. Really nice. Let's put a little bit of water on this. As I mentioned, 46% ABV. Do about a teaspoon here, see what else happens. All right. Okay, now, some water on it. Oh, interesting. Spice notes step aside. Something I noticed quite a bit with kind of heavy spice or heavy peated whiskeys. You add the water, some of those aggressive notes really do step aside and allow some of the other stuff to shine through, and that's definitely happening here. Much more fruity now. Orange, honey, kind of that rich toffee note. Very kind of classic Glenmorangie notes. Honey, orange, slightly floral. Yeah, that base spirit's coming through a bit more now. Rye spice is still there, however. Again, really kind of rounded, warm, quite nice. Okay, we'll give this another taste. This is really good. So, unlike neat, where the pepper hits you right away, the water has taken that pepper note down a bit on the initial palate. So it's kind of like a nice, elegant, velvety feel. Still medium body, light to medium body. As it develops, much more toffee, honey, like clover honey. So it's very sweet. The vanilla, not so much. It's kind of hanging around. The mint, again, is there as it develops. Rye spice pepper comes in a bit at the end of the development as it goes into the finish now. This is a much more balanced, complex whiskey, I think, with water. Finish is still nice and long. Toffee, orange in the background. There's a bit of a grassy, fresh-cut grass note. Quite good. I gotta give this one more taste, y'all. This is a good one. Here's one more look at the presentation. Your typical kind of elegant Glenmorangie bottle. Spios, not exactly a rare whiskey, but becoming increasingly harder to find. As I mentioned, this was released in 2018. I still see this somewhat frequently in specialty shops. You go to a decent liquor store, they'll likely still have some of this on the shelf, but it is not a whiskey that's going to be on their core range. So this is kind of one that you're going to want to try to grab when you can. And if you do see it, it's going to range in $85 to $95. So it is a bit expensive for an NAS whiskey, particularly something, you know, really is kind of unique as this. You just don't find whiskeys that are going to have, Scotch whiskeys that are going to have like a rye maturation. So I think that overcomes that age statement on this, plus 46% non-chill filter. You can't go wrong with that. So even in that 85 to 95 range, if you can find it on the lower end, maybe 85, maybe sometimes 80, I think this is a really good purchase. Okay, y'all. So, final thoughts. Glenmorangie Spios. This is a really unique savory whiskey. Glenmorangie's private editions, I think, are usually quite good. And this one is definitely probably one of the better ones I've had. If you are a fan of American rye, this is going to be a really interesting one to try, because in a lot of cases with American rye, it only has to be 51% corn legally. So you get a lot of, or I'm sorry, 51% rye legally. So you get a lot of corn in the mash bill, which brings in parts a lot of sweetness, which gives it more kind of bourbony notes. I think for something like this one, where it's just barley, you're really getting a much more clean, assertive rye. You really just get down to the essence of what a rye whiskey can taste like. You're really getting with those spices. And it's not kind of overcoated with that heavy oak barrel sweetness that you get in high corn American oak aged ryes that you get here in the States, which tend to be, like I said, sometimes as low as 51% rye, sometimes as high as 80%, or bourbons, which have high ryes. This is just a much more unique, singular experience, and a good one. I think this is a great whiskey for Scotch drinkers who want to taste what a rye whiskey and what rye can actually bring to a whiskey. This is a great one to pick up. And for those of you who are into Scotch and bourbon and rye, this is going to be a really unique pour. So really enjoying the Glenmorangie Spios. I'm going to give this a solid 4 out of 5, which means I recommend you pick up a bottle. All right, y'all. So that is my review of Glenmorangie Spios, Private Edition number 9. As always, hit subscribe if you get to, and I'm going to kick you over to your malt musing. I'll catch you next time here on Malt Muser Whiskey Reviews. Sláinte, y'all.